when a man is talking about feelings, his estrogen goes up. Now, why do we have a whole culture that says talking about feelings is so helpful? Because 90% of the people who go to therapists to talk are women.
Right.
A woman can talk about problems, talk about feelings, talk about things that aren't going well, talk about herself and her experiences. Her estrogen goes up. Talking about yourself and talking about your feelings raises more estrogen. Sharing emotions shares really. Now, if you have estrone, that's where you really have to learn how to connect with your emotions again. Feelings, your irrational emotions. See, you're so rational at that point, you can't break into the irrational emotions, which are, one is I feel lonely, I'm scared, maybe something's wrong with me, maybe I'm over the hill, maybe I'm not more beautiful, no man will really want me, or I can't really trust men are not good, they're all like that last guy I was with, no one will find me. Your brain just goes spirals into all the negative thinking. You have to write that out. Okay? You have to just let that voice be heard. Then once you start to hear what's inside of you, then let yourself feel sad about it. Let yourself be angry about it. Let yourself experience the fears. Let yourself experience your regrets. Embrace this irrational, overreactive, negative part of you. It's a part of every person. And so you've outgrown that with estrone, just sort of locks it all in. It just pushes it all down because you can't feel emotions unless you need help. See, anytime you negative emotions, and you can't feel positive emotions, unless you feel successful or you're getting help. That's where it all comes from. Think about you're hungry, you need to eat. You eat that food, it tastes so good. If you keep eating, it doesn't taste good. It's just a surge, It's like you feel the need, you get it, now you feel good for a while. If you notice, I'm not wearing glasses. I had my what are those? The surgery which takes away, forget what they're called. Anyways,
The cataract. The cataract. Did you have cataract surgery?
Yeah, I had it. I'm so happy. I can't believe it. It's like I see so much more light because the cataracts were blocking the light. And now I don't need glasses. I can see. I'm like amazed. Now, there's certain problems about it as well because I have one eye does short, one eye does this, so I don't have depth perception, which creates a problem. But I don't mind the problem at all because I can see and I have light. See, that's what happens when your brain is functioning in a non-stress way. You look at the negative, but you balance it with yes, but the positive is so much more. When you're stressed, and you're not making enough estradiol, you're not going to have this ability to look at the negative and say, well, he didn't wash that glass, but he washed those plates. See, when you're negative, you go, well, he washed the plates, but he didn't wash the glass. The glass is still dirty. So it's the way the brain switches. Either it looks at the negative, but then it looks at the positive, or it looks at the positive and minimizes the positive by focusing on the negative. And this is what happens when women are not making enough estrogen. The estradiol.
So this could apply to certainly in dating, because you can see the positive or you can see the good that a man has to offer, and not focusing on whatever you might see as imperfect in him. Also, in a long-term relationship, where let's face it.
Both situations. When you're dating, you're in a stressed state. Come on, you're with a strange man. You're just out there. Your brain goes into adrenaline right away. Okay. And so your brain will go into this bias of it's like a capture. In science, they call it, the brain becomes hijacked. Okay. It becomes hijacked by negative stress hormones. They literally control how the blood flows in your brain. One of the things that happens, amazing stuff happens. You can measure brain scans, and what you see is that when women experience moderate stress, one of the things happens is that for a while, the blood flow stops to the prefrontal cortex altogether. This is why they explain that a woman gets upset about some little thing, but she gets upset. She can ruminate over that same thing for days.
Oh yeah. I've been there, done that.
So this is a stress reaction. Now, how does she combat that stress reaction? At any age, she processes her emotions. Because anytime you have a stress reaction, if you're a woman, you need to increase your estrogen levels. Okay, that's it. You have to increase. So by becoming aware of what you feel, self-awareness will increase your estrogen levels. And what you feel as a negative emotion, it will increase your estrogen even more. This is estradiol comes up when you can cry out for help, help, I need help, please come, come, come. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. That's part of why women like to shop, is at least when you're shopping, you're aware of what you want. Oh, I want that, or I like that, or I could have that, or I don't have that, along with everything is new and different. What's new? What's a new outfit? These are all like key brain stimulants to allow you to experience heightened estrogen, which, by the way, when you go shopping, it does create estrogen. but it's not, you can go broke too. So you have to be careful.
Right, right, right. We don't want to use this as an excuse for like going crazy shopping, right?
Right. Well, I tell you, I was at a convention one time, and, you have these different booths. And I was like looking, who has the biggest crowd around their booth, because I usually get a big crowd after a talk, but I wasn't just there. So I'm a little jealous. Who is that over there? And there's like 50 women all around doing a makeup demonstration. 50 women, all, they all just skincare, major thing for women. My wife Bonnie, she passed on. I'm now remarried, and the wife I'm married to now does skincare. And so we were in the grocery store, and I mean, she's amazing. And wherever she goes, women will go, "You look so beautiful." I mean, she's an older woman. "You look so beautiful. What skin product do you use?" She sells skin products. Wherever she goes, she sells skin products. What the phrase they use, "What product do you use?" It's so amazing. It's like men, like they say to me, "What product do I use for testosterone production?" And I don't use any products, by the way. I just eat a lot of protein, and I don't complain. That's a big thing. What women don't understand is, again, you're with a guy. If he starts to complain about his life or express his regrets, that's his negative side. Everybody has a positive and negative side. If he's sharing these insecurities, these doubts, or his frustrations, or his criticism of the government, whatever it is, if he's negative, you're going to get turned off. Okay?
Right.
Because he is expressing his female side. His testosterone, whenever a man is angry, his testosterone is low. His estrogen is high. What will turn a woman on is when a man's testosterone is high and his estrogen is not so high. So it has to be this right balance. And when he has that balance, being in his presence will allow your estrogen to go up. You'll feel safer. You'll feel seen. You'll feel heard. You're the star of the show. It's about you. It's not about him. It should never be about him. It should be about what he did for you, the star of the show.
Yeah, so powerful, and definitely not the way we're all operating at times. And a lot of this feels, I believe, counterintuitive to women, because it does make us feel better to talk about our problems, or to share with someone, or to get it all out. And you're recommending you can write it out, or you can talk it out, or you can go to a counselor. Or there's a lot of ways for women to get that out.
A lot to talk to another woman. But never talk to a woman who agrees with your negative emotions.
Ah.
So this is also shown to raise your stress levels. Is that what will happen? They can see brain scans when two women are upset about the same thing and they're both talking. They have more stress hormones, and there's more activation of the limbic system, because you're getting agreement with your unhappiness. When people agree with, now this is something took me years to figure this one out. This is this phrase of women need validation. Okay. And I put it in my book, Men Are From Mars, but nobody really knows clearly what validation means. If you have a ticket, validate the ticket, and in the parking ticket, and they validate it and it works. Okay. So to validate a woman's negative emotions, so women want to feel, I'm upset, I want to feel validated. Well, if you say that to a man, to validate means, it sounds like you want me to agree with you that all these crazy reasons that you're unhappy about are true. Like,
right.
Like, let's take a simple example. I don't want to there's so many examples, but I'll just do one of my daughters. We're in the restaurant. This is when they're growing up, and she says, that waitress doesn't like me. Wherever I go at a restaurant, they never like me. Why is it? They never like me. Now, to validate her, should I say, yeah, they don't like you. Maybe it's like you're not nice to them. Your wife basically says, they don't support me in the office. You kind of go, well, I can see you're not supported. Maybe there's a reason they don't support you. I mean, you want me to agree with you and analyze why they don't support you? It's that's what validate in his mind means. And what does validate really mean? Finally, I was able to articulate it into words and writing. To validate means when a woman is upset, to hear her negativity, because that's what anger is. That's what sadness is. It's all negative. It's looking at the dark side of life. When you're looking at the dark side of life, how do you validate that? You have to have an awareness that this is a temporary state where she needs extra love and support for her to come back to a more happy place. And I trust that she can do that. And I don't see her as a negative person just because she's having negative emotions. And I don't see her as an incompetent person just because she's being irrational. See, that's the validation. You can be negative and I can hear you knowing that's not all who you are. You can have problems and I can validate what you're going through and recognize that you're still a competent, reasonable, loving woman. That's validation. As opposed to agreement. You know, if somebody says, I feel like I'm in counseling and somebody says, my husband doesn't love me, am I supposed to agree with that? I say, yeah, your husband doesn't love you. You should probably just leave him. That would be a logical response. So validation is to hear negativity, particularly a woman's negativity, and hold a space where you know that it's a temporary expression of stress. And when she feels heard, she'll come back to the beautiful, wonderful human being she is. And her rationality doesn't mean she's not a logical person. She's temporarily not logical, but she's still a logical person and competent and capable. That's validating her as a person, even when she's out of balance. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that was so powerful. That was so well said, and really nuanced understanding of that. Because yeah, it doesn't necessarily make you feel better. If someone says, yeah, your husband doesn't love you, you should leave him, like the example you gave. He probably doesn't love you. You probably should leave now. Just holding that space, being heard, it's a chance to get it out. It's a chance, like for me, I tell my husband sometimes, I'm like, I just need to talk to process this.
That's it.
And you don't have to solve it. You don't have to fix it. I just need to talk to process this. And we've done that many times in our marriage. And then I'm able to like get it out. And then I'm able to think more clearly. I'm not so stressed. I'm not so anxious. I don't have the spiraling negative thoughts like you were talking about, because I've been able to just like get it out. And sometimes I'll ask him, what do you think? Or what do you recommend? But other times I just need to just have someone listen to me, just someone who cares about me to be present. And so he understands that now when I just say, I just need to speak. I need to get this out by talking through it. And I just need you to listen to it, even if it doesn't make a lot of logical sense, or I'm hopping all around from one thing to another and this side and that side. And it sounds like, where are we going with this? I just need you to hear what I have to say so that I can get it out.
And this becomes easier and easier for men to provide that if women realize you have to tell him every time, because he doesn't know which kind of conversation is this. You need
good point.
Turn a switch. You need to tell him this is just, I call it Venus talk. This is, and you need to give him a time limit. Now,
right.
In the beginning, maybe women think, oh, that's too short. But actually, if you say to him, I just need to talk for 10 minutes, I'll feel better. And then you give me a hug and I'll feel even better. Then what you do is you wander around in your feelings. The more emotional you can express, the better. The more irrational you can be, the better. As long as afterwards you say, now I feel better. Thank you. Then he learns how to contain his reactions. Because as soon as you talk about anything that's a problem, we are designed biologically, when there's a problem, to solve it. Why? Because all well-being comes inside of us when our testosterone goes up. And testosterone goes up when we feel we can solve a problem. If there's danger, testosterone goes up to solve the problem. You being unhappy is danger. His danger. I need a happy wife. I want her to be happy, and I want to feel loved by her. I need to help her be happy. So as soon as you're unhappy, his brain blood flow has been shown. When a man is faced with a problem to solve, blood flow will stop to the emotional part of his brain and go to the front part of his brain where he figures out the solution. But if the solution is for him not to talk or even think about a solution, then he stops thinking about a solution and doesn't talk. Then what will happen is his mirror neurons will open up. And actually he can feel not so much empathy, but compassion. This is all biology by doing just what you said. And you can actually be very bold. You can just, once you've said it, you just go, look, I need a Venus talk, or I need to talk, I need to vent. That's another way people say it. I need to vent for 10 minutes and I'll be fine and I'll feel so much better. And you give me a hug, I'll feel even better. And then, and during this time, please do not speak. Don't say a word. Just look at me. That's all I need is your presence. And by giving that presence, you will get his mirror neurons will open and he'll be able to feel what you feel. I started out because I was just reading a book about Meher Baba and be happy, don't worry, that whole thing. Well, Meher Baba was in silence. He healed all these people by not talking. He would just have them talk. He would hold their hand and he would look at them and that was it. And they would be healed. Now he had extra healing power, but what it meant is by not talking, his mirror neurons were wide open. Silence opens a man's neurons. It's amazing. And yet our culture is like we always have to be talking. And particularly women, they feel insecure when a man's not talking. And what's he feeling? One practical thing is if you are talking to a man on a date and he does disconnect, that can you kind of go, what did I say? What went on? And then you'll ruminate about that. But
for days after the date, the women are ruminating. What did I say? What did I do?
Did I do the wrong thing? Should I have done this? Should I have done this? Okay. But when a man detaches, because a woman doesn't understand men, she interprets that to mean what a woman would mean if she detaches. And that detachment is the closing of the mirror neurons. So only time a woman's mirror neurons close is when she's really upset with somebody. It's like, you've really upset me. You betrayed me. I've given to you. I feel resentful. I don't want to talk to you. Mirror neurons will close. Otherwise, they stay open. A man's mirror neurons close just like that. As soon as there's a problem to solve, particularly someone he cares about or wants to impress, mirror neurons close, blood flow stops to the emotional part of the brain, goes to the front part of the brain. You will feel that disconnect. And you feel like, oh my gosh, what did I say? What's going on? So one simple thing is to be conscious of these processes. And what you can say to him at that moment is you say, when he pauses from talking and connecting, you just say, oh, so you're thinking about that. And then relax into silence. And he'll immediately reconnect with his mirror neurons. They'll open right at that moment. He'll say yes. Whenever a man is saying yes, mirror neurons are opening. Okay, it's like yes. When you're having problems, talking about problems, and particularly when it's your husband, see, he's more emotionally connected. Immediately he wants to go save the day and help you why you shouldn't feel that way. The way you can help me, just don't speak. Just think about what I say. Try not, actually, this is better. Try not to think about it. Just feel what I feel. And that becomes his new goal. And when his goal is that way, his mirror neurons will open. Blood flow will go to 3 parts of his brain. One to the emotional part of the brain, not as much as a woman, but it will go to empathy. It will go to the prefrontal cortex, which says, well, how can I help her? It will go to the action part of his brain, which is, what action can I take for her? His testosterone level will go up and he'll bond with you more, all because you shared vulnerability. Amazing.
It is amazing. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about times when I've felt overwhelmed. And I know you talk about that in your books too, when women feel overwhelmed and or I feel like there's just too much to do, or there's so much on my list, or I feel so much pressure or pulled in so many different directions. As women, we often, and I'm sure men do too, but as women,
not as much as women, not as much as women.
And so when that happens, one thing that I've noticed is that helps is for me to say this to my husband. I just need you to listen. I just need to share. I'm not making this your fault. I'm just feeling overwhelmed with this and this and this and this and this. And then I have started, and this is something I've learned, there might have been a part of me somewhere in the past that would have thought he should have seen I have all these things on my plate and he should have been jumping in and helping me more. But now I've learned, John, through talking with you, through studying your work, that I need to be able to ask him. And so I'll say, would you help me, or would you do this, this, and this, and take those off my list? And a lot of times they're small things, but like it can, even if he does 1 or 2 small things that are like weighing on my mind, because we have so many things on our minds so often as women, it makes me feel so much better, so supported, and he gets to feel my appreciation and gratitude, and I feel like he cares about me, and it's a whole nother opportunity for us to connect. Where in the beginning, I might have been thinking, early on in our marriage, I might have been thinking he should be able to see all these things that are going on, and he should be jumping in and helping me. So, like the asking, learning how to, one of the things that has been so profound in talking with you in my own marriage is instead of like criticizing or being upset with him or making him wrong or bad in my mind, or, giving him the cold shoulder or whatever we do, silly games that we do, is just share and ask for support, asking for help. And I guess that's part of that vulnerability that we really started with, is me tuning into my own feelings, my own needs, even wants. Like a lot of times I think we have to be reminded it's okay to have both needs and wants, and to ask for support in those things.
You are so brilliant. I think that's why people like our videos the best. I always enjoy talking with you because you're able to hear what I say and then say how you're doing it and how you apply it or why it works. People need examples of seeing that this stuff works, that this is very, very real, because it's very scary to ask a man for help. Now, now realize to do something that's scary makes you feel vulnerable. See, that already to do something which is scary makes you more attractive to a man. And so this can be applied not so much in the dating, but it can, but just to know, I'm thinking of single women at this point, but I'm going, when you're in a relationship, there's so many extra things you can do to change your history of relationships. And what you've just explained is, you've been in relationships where men stop doing things and giving. That creates a kind of a jaded perspective of men, more mistrust. But when you can see things you could have done that you didn't do, your sense of, we could try that out. It's an eagerness and openness to be less judgmental or less mistrusting of men when you can see how you could have done it differently and gotten different results. And that's what you do for people. And I have a new process that I'm sharing in the new book, which is fun to share. It's called the five finger ask. Have you heard that I've done that on your shows before?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So this is sign language. Sign language is really good for guys. Okay. It's silence, it's making a request. Now you probably remember when we're driving in the car, my wife wants me to slow down. We do sign language. She just grabs the handle and I immediately slow down and I put my hand on her thigh. I said, and I did that for you. And she's so sweet. She says, I know, and I appreciate it. So it always becomes a moment of connection. Sometimes I would drive a little fast just so she could put her handle up and I could touch her and say, that was for you. And she always felt appreciative of it because she knew that I can drive fast and I'm a safe driver. There's nothing wrong with my driving. If we're late, she wants me to drive fast. Also at yellow lights, when we hit a yellow light, she feels more comfortable if I don't run the light, and I feel more comfortable running the light. And just to help remember this story, I would tell a very funny story because I do drive rather fast. And when I hit a yellow light and I sped up and went through the yellow light, and the policeman pulled me over and he comes up to my car and he says, you know what you did? Actually, he didn't even ask me. I said, hey, I made it through that yellow light. And he says, yes, you did at 85. I got a speeding ticket. But, that's just to remember this point. But whenever I would stop at a yellow light, I put my hand on her thigh, and I would always stop at yellow lights when she was in the car as a way to acknowledge my wife, who's sitting next to me. And she doesn't have a steering wheel. She doesn't have an accelerator. She doesn't have brakes. She's in a very vulnerable situation. So if men can learn to drive in ways that make women feel safe, that's the best estrogen stimulator there is. You'll see a lot as women get older, they're driving their husbands around. And of course, why? Because she complained so much about his driving. He said, okay, if you want to drive, then you just drive. Okay. And he'll just take the passive seat. His testosterone goes down and her testosterone goes up when you drive. It's a major testosterone stimulator for men. And it's a major stress stimulator for women if she doesn't feel that I can communicate and instantly get results. See, that's the key for women to say, I have a need, and he jumps on it right away. That's profound, as opposed to ask the guy to do something, he'll say, I'll get to it, and then he'll forget it and all that. So what this new technique that's so fun, I do in my new marriage now, which is I put my wife, I told her, just put your hand up. It's a signal, which means I'm going to ask you to do something that will take less than 5 minutes. And we're going to play a little game. And ideally, you do it every day, but you don't have to. And when she puts her hands up, no matter what I do, I stop instantly. I say, what is it? Because I know it's only going to take me 2 or 3 minutes. And it's going to help her brain stop obsessing over what she has to do. Because one of the most powerful ways to shift a woman's brain from all the things I have to do, you see, there's a momentum that builds up. Men have that momentum, but we have a way to turn it off. Testosterone turns it off. Okay, we can turn it off. You cannot turn it off. Okay,
right.
So that's why you ruminate. This is all science. Women ruminate. If you talk about your feelings to somebody who listens, that will help. But even more, okay, just without even having to talk, is to ask a man to do something that you can do yourself. Okay, and he will eagerly respond to it with no resistance. So ask a man to do something that you could do for yourself, that you would do for yourself, but you don't have to do for yourself because he's doing it for you. Now, this comes me back to the movie The Princess Bride. Do you remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Women in our generation, Princess Bride, great movie. She falls in love with the guy who's the country guy, doesn't have money or anything. But he's always helping her, and she asks him to do something. He always says, as you wish.
As you wish.
As you wish, as you wish, as you wish. And this is what women love, is if they have a need, and a man immediately goes, as you wish. You have to, in that moment, she's a VIP. It doesn't have to be all the time. We have our separate lives, but if you ask me to do something, only going to take me 1 minute or 3 minutes or 5 minutes max, there's no part of my brain that has any resistance to that if I know it's going to make you happy. So if you explain to a guy, this actually makes me very happy. It's the essence of what romance is. Romance is providing for women something she could do for herself for an evening. But it doesn't have to be for an evening. It's just simply what it is. It's to stop the momentum of her brain. And in NLP, it's called a pattern interrupt. You've got to interrupt the pattern. And so the pattern is I'm taking on more and more. It's like a snowball coming down a hill. If you just stop the snowball for a minute, the momentum is gone and it will just sit there. It didn't take big force or anything. Just stop it for a minute and the momentum's gone. So
that's probably why it feels so good when even one little thing is taken off the list of the things that are going on in a woman's head.
That's it. It just stops the momentum because you're in this momentum of I have to do, I have to do, I have to do. Ironically, for men, the biggest testosterone producer is when he sets a goal, and to achieve that goal, he has to do certain things. As long as he sets the goal, then he's choosing to do those things. So he chooses to do what he has to do. For women, you just have to do, and there's no stop to it. So for men, we want to set goals for men so they can feel, okay, I have to do this and this and this, and it's their choice because they set the goal. But for women, their brain just takes on a whole nother world of mirror neurons open, and I've got to do this, and this person is going to hurt, and this person's going to be disappointed, and this person's not going to like me. It's just like, it's all this stuff going on. And so it particularly adrenaline's being produced, then that momentum is building. All it takes is to feel like somebody just did something for me that I would have done or I could do, and I don't have to do. So you're coming back to that, just a moment of breath where I don't have to do. And this is what a man can do for a woman. It's so easy. And any man will do it. Occasionally in my seminars, workshops, a man will, I don't know if I want to do that. Or if I talk to a guy privately, well, I don't want to do that. I said, what if I told you that your wife is going to be so much happier? And we're talking about something that takes less than 5 minutes. And you're going to have a happier wife. Aren't you willing to do that? You work all day? Because see, what a man will think is, why do I have to do more? I'm already doing so much. How about if you do less? With other things and do this one little 5-minute thing, your wife will be happier. Try it out. And they will. Every man will do it once he understands the logic of this. And it only can happen if you understand how men and women are different. Now, once you experience it as a man, then you really like the game. Because when she stops me and I do it, then suddenly it's a moment where I feel I'm doing something for her that will make her happy. And even more important, I'm overcoming my own resistance to doing little things. See, men have this issue, which I only do big things, and we put off doing little things. But now you're retraining your brain to respond quickly and immediately to little things, which makes a huge difference for women. Because when women ask for little things, and he forgets to do it. In her mind, she registers, if he won't do little things, what if I need big things?
Right. Right.
And so when a man doesn't do little things, a woman can conclude he just doesn't love me. Because for her, little things are easy to do.